our first stop that we need to get to. So let's give it a go. I think this is the entrance. So this is on the Oslo pass. So you have to activate your card, and then they just scan it, and then they give you a code. So it'll give you a QR code to scan. So it's really easy so far, and the internet has actually worked, which I'm not sure if the card app works on it or not, but does seem to be working in the area at the moment. So, Museum Attic, timescale 1600 to 19014, and then there's presumably other bits around here that so I can't read that, but that's an exposition and things pointing these directions. But let's start with this. Okay, so you have to put that if you've got those shoes on. Toilets out here. Okay, so stuff you can put in there if you want to. Shows about the ceiling up there. Okay, so this is a journey through time, meet the merchants, elite, and all the other bits that are gonna be involved. Change in style. Let's begin. And it presumably explains the different items. So, rocking horse explains it about that. But if you want to look at the things, and also Norwegian, if you want, that gives you all the little information about the pieces. Okay. Painting. So home. A press. Fostered a daughter. This is Elsa and her daughter, their first marriage, lived on the farm. It's a clergyman, so this presents a slight class thing. So, and this is more modern nation. So, of course, some cool toys. This is kind of explaining what happens behind the scenes. So, presumably, just picking and restoring storage, making sure everything is in the best condition it can be in. Little brushes you can use, and little magnifying glasses, things to clean. Got little lockers that will put a bag or something in there if you want to. To the courtyard. I believe this is something. So let's go here. Let's do with folk art. Stuff here. Beginning. Okay, so this is the Middle Ages. So everything has style. Okay, and then of course kind of goes up. So the different things presumably he used, and apologies for squeaky feet. Two ways it's going at the moment. It's the open air museum. I'll have to see if it just says the same thing, because I think it goes round, but let's just double check. As I say, this is usual, me giving you a flavour of what you see, and choose if you want to go or not. There's generally some interesting stuff other than that though, and around this thing I've shown you. So yeah, it's basically the same thing. So it's just, I think the church is this way as well. So. Okay, so as far as I can remember for this, it's an open air museum of the different styles of houses you used to get at different time periods. Yeah, so it's the countryside and the old towns kind of thing. So the different houses you get. So like this, I think is an 18th century house. And then this over here is a lot older. So these are kind of older style buildings. For anyone wondering, I think it's supposed to be -9 at the moment, so it's a bit chilly, but you know, it's interesting still seeing stuff even when it's cold. Okay, so I'm guessing that is 1754 then. But yeah, that's the kind of thing you'll see. This does have a load of information about the houses and the years and all those kind of things. So if you like architecture and history of that kind of thing, and housing and all that, there's an awful lot of things on the boards that tell you everything about what you need to know. And you know, and the kind of people that lived in them. So I think this is showing the countryside on this side, so I think the old town will be on that side, I believe, but I might be completely wrong. I consistently am, so. But yeah, it's nice to walk on crunchy snow, because you don't get it very often in England. So yeah, this is first towns, so this is bits and pieces of that. is also a cafe over there. I'm not going to go into it, but there is a, eating option over there. With the snowy weather, there's loads of people with sledges and things going down the hill at the moment. Okay, back out. It is pretty damn chilly out now. Christmas market. Doing the walk to my hotel, so hopefully I should be getting there soon, because it is cold. Well, that detour to the souvenir shop to get some trolls really warmed me up, which is quite nice. Just you do that if you're on here. It's cold. Going to a souvenir shop, you don't have necessarily to buy anything, but it just gives you something to do. Need the key to get the lift to work, so let's go to our room. Okay, let's do a quick tour of the room. There isn't much to see, but let's do it. Okay, so you've got a TV, chair, the bed. Both have charging points next to them, which is useful. Got the view, which is basically everyone else's rooms. I've got the information of checkout and Wi-Fi, breakfast, ironing, fitness, and cleaning. Don't have a kettle or anything like that because that is sold downstairs. So bathroom is clean. Got the towels, and that's about it really. Let's do a TV test. Okay, so well, that seems to work alright at the moment. I'll test it at some point better to see if the signal keeps in and everything. Oh yeah, and there's a couple of glasses on the top, so that's something to do there. There's still got a lot of charging points. There's one down there, there's two down there, there's two in the bed, so there's quite a lot. And you get a mirror. Killing deck. It kind of springs up when you sit on it, but hopefully it'll be alright in a couple of days. It doesn't have a mattress protector on it, which is apart from the bit, but we'll have to wait and see. Also, this shelf doesn't allow you to put bottles or anything on it. A bit slow on Right. So doesn't have anything. Okay, let's do a little bit more light. Well, I chickened out going to the restaurant I was supposed to today. I just got to a point where I'd have to go up an icy hill or down an icy hill, but my brain was just telling me I'm going to fall over and hurt myself. Would have meant that, I'll have a look up and see if I can find anywhere else that's doing a similar thing. But yeah, I chickened out because I have a injury thing like a mile wide. When I think it's gonna happen, so I generally avoid it. Did end up instead having one of the weirdest tasting jerk chickens I've had in a while. Just didn't taste right from what I know from the ones I've eaten. But yeah, hopefully I will give you some interesting foods to see, and I'll give a little bit of wander around. Hopefully I'll see more tomorrow than I did today. It's just the hop-off bus. The drivers always seem to take ages at break spots or going to get a cup of tea and things like that, which of course right to do, but when someone's sitting there for 15 minutes when you could be doing something else, it's not great. Meant that I heard the same thing quite a lot on those buses. But yeah, I've got a few things planned tomorrow to do. Lots of things in Europe are closed on Mondays, like museums and things like that. So there's a couple of things that I know they're open, and I'm going to check out. One I know I can film at, the other one I'm not. The other couple of things I'm not so sure, but I will do some kind of videoing saying what I'm doing and then review, even if it's just back in the hotel, reviewing if it's worth doing or not, depending how busy things are around me. Well, I slept better than I thought I was going to. It's still a very, very thin mattress, and it does feel like you're sleeping on a camp bed quite a lot of the time. The room is difficult to get the temperature right in this room, and there's like a temperature thing on the wall, and there's a radiator, like a smart radiator, and I'm trying to use both, and I'm not sure which one is actually heating the room. Breakfast is typical fare of what you'd get in this area, continental breakfast with ham and cheese and pate and things, and then some hot options, which are usually baked beans, little sausages, some bacon, and different versions of egg. A couple of the, things like cereals and all those kind of things. I forgot to bring my camera with a battery in it, so I couldn't record anything. But I'll put some stuff in I recorded on my phone. As I say, it's just the heat in this room sometimes is working out how, as it's really quite cold outside, it's trying to work out how to make sure that I don't feel cold. Apart from that, room's fine, but I'd prefer not like I'm sitting on a camp bed, but that's, my own fault. But yeah, as I say, I'm not particularly enjoying the breakfast at the moment, but that's because I'm not enjoying the flavour as much as the quality of them. Because I really don't like smoked bacon, in any kind of regard. So, and that's their kind of, they don't really have anything like back bacon here, as far as I can tell. So I'll update on anything else. The internet seems to have worked reasonably well. I'll be doing a test tonight, doing a Discord call thing that I do usually on a Monday. So I'll see how that works with the internet we have here. Does seem to loading things like Twitch and well, YouTube's easier to load things anyway, but Twitch does seem to load things. There's a couple of pauses, but it's not too bad. Okay, let's go off and see what we can find. Okay, the thing I'm walking towards has several names. One that's basically it in Norwegian, and then it's like the Homefront Museum, so basically during the occupation of Norway. So that's going to be interesting to see, I think, because it does have quite a rich history between that time period. So let's work out. As they say, it's a bit icy and a bit kind of cautious walking at the moment, but basically, if I'm not filming very much on certain things, is because I'm just making sure that I'm looking at where my feet are going, and also at the map, so I'm not falling over and damaging myself or anything else I own. So, but yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be really quite cold at the moment. It's still -9, I think. So next time around, when I'm doing my trip later this year with Iceland, I'm definitely going to see if my warm coat still works, because this with a hoodie is not quite suffice. Okay, so this building's quite impressive. Oh, this is quite impressive and imposing. I need to go this way. Okay, so it's the entrance to the stairs. I'm still about 15 minutes early, so let's have another look at the wander. I can wander back. So when you travel, question for the viewers out there, do you prefer hotter places or colder places? Because I've always preferred colder places. Because one, you can kind of put more layers on and, you know, actually kind of build up heat, where I find it very difficult to get cooler. So, I mean, that's just a question for everyone. I know I'm probably one of the weird ones who just likes travelling during this kind of December, January, February kind of time. Probably because there's a little bit less people around. But yeah, a decent view of the city around here. And outside outside there's information signs explaining different things that happened around the fortress at the time. You can tell it's a fortress, so you can see why you've got a really good view of things down below. And surrounding areas if anything was coming in. But yeah, as I say, it is cold at the moment, but I have very long sleeves on my coat, so that's one thing to stop me having to be really cold. But yeah, as I say, this is a bit of a trip that I've wanted to do for ages, of actually seeing Oslo. I have seen Finland, Sweden, Iceland, Denmark. I've seen all those. I've just wanted. This is basically the last one I have. I know there's a couple of little islands that kind of count in the Scandinavian thing, but they're kind of added on from what I can remember, more than actual spaces, or they're connected with like places like Denmark, or associated other countries. That out of the block. So but yeah, I always wanted to go to Norway. I mean, technically it was partly because of the incredibly expensive Michelin star restaurant that you have in Oslo, but I don't really want to spend over £400 on a meal, so I'm just gonna explore what I can see and have some fun. As I say, it's quite a spectacular view. Attack. Of like warning systems, secret devices, and military projects, movements, and secret intelligence basically around. Of course, London had presumably some form of involvement. Okay, so far North secret stations transmitted to London information on the movement of German ships. So that's very helpful. I know it's an understatement. Profiteers and collaborators. So blow the national economy, cut off from normal sources, Germans, mercy occupation. So, like everywhere, they had to workshop where I produce various kind of areas. Communication. I won't click on that one. Lots of Winston Churchill's stuff is copyrighted, so you generally means I'll just have to cut it out of the video anyway.
Dette er London. Denne sendingen går på langbølgen 1500 meter, på en bølge i 19 meter bånd, på to bølger i 30 meter bånd.
If you like that kind of history of stuff, and it's kind of interesting because of course Norway was incredibly important to Great Britain when we were fighting the war, because basically the entire, or pretty much all the entire of the merchant navy of Norway was pretty much helping us out and making sure that things were transported and things backwards and forwards and information and stuff like that was transformed, you know. So there's an awful lot going on, and of course quite a lot of the population did not want them to be there, so there was a big resistance, and there's some good stories in there about things that happened. I'd say it's worth a visit, definitely, because it's an interesting part of history, just of seeing what everyone did or didn't do really between, you know, that time period. So yeah, I'd say definitely worth a go. It's on the Oslo Pass, which so you just scan that and do that. So let's go on to our next thing. But yeah, definitely worth visiting this. It's interesting. It plays things reasonably well. It's nothing too bright or too dark. Lots of the videos don't have any sound to them, so it's not like you're going to hear like sirens or bombs or anything going off. There is a couple of speeches that you can hear, and click the screen and it will play it. They are in the language that they are originally inscribed, and they don't have a transcript necessarily of what they're saying. There is a Winston Churchill speech, which, as earlier in this video I said, I'm not clicking because I know quite a lot of them are copyrighted on YouTube. But yeah, well worth a visit. and let's go and see what else we can do. The thing I'm going to is Viking Planet. I can't necessarily film very much there because it's a VAR experience, but I will show you the building and I will explain what I've done afterwards. But yeah, it kind of does slightly different things as VR, and there's a couple other bits, I think. But it kind of gives you Vikings in a kind of slightly different way than you usually do. And as things like the Viking boat museum is closed at the moment, I can't see that. So let's do some Vikings some other way. Okay, Viking Planet, I would say, is definitely worth seeing if you enjoy that kind of thing. There's lots of interactive stuff to do, from either the Viking timeline to the kind of things they do, different things. there's a couple of visual things, there's holograms, and there is the VAR. Okay, the VAR experience does shake you a little out a bit, but you don't need to be strapped in or anything for it. If you've been in a boat, it's very similar to that, and then there's a little bit of a kind of battle between the boats and the people on the island and another boat. It's a bit of a spoiler, but just saying that that's what's going to happen, and on the kind of Viking thing, so. But it's a fun way of taking your time, and as I say, you can mess around, and there's some selfie AI things you can do to make yourself look like a Viking, which is kind of fun. I'll put it at the end of the video. The next thing I plan to do, Google Maps is telling me is closed, so I might just have a wander around and then wander back to the hotel and see what I can find. So down the front seems to be an awful lot of restaurants, and then there's the boats that you can see down that side. And all the little random bits that you get next to pools. Quite impressive horse. That is quite peaceful of a place. There's not huge amounts of things to really worry about, but at least to me, I'm finding it reasonably relaxing of a place. But it is really cold, so I'm not sure how much that stops people going outside. Or not really. Okay, I went down to the bar reception and bought myself a sandwich. Cost 88 kroners. There's cheaper options down there. Quite a lot of them are ham and cheese. There's also, soft drinks and crisps and snacks and, confectionery down there. There's a couple of instant soups, which I'm guessing they make downstairs unless everyone else has a kettle. So there is that. There's also a Joker, corner shop, supermarket thing, down the road a couple of minutes away, which sells a reasonable amount of snacky stuff and, things to make up sandwiches and all those kind of things. If you have a bit more time and a fridge, you could actually put up all cooking things. There's a lot of, people obviously pop in for their daily, the daily shop stuff. But they do sell bigger drinks. So if you don't want to go down to the bottom of the hotel and pay for a small bottle. Ever so often you can get a larger one and it's probably a bit cheaper. The reptile park is a quite small thing, but it's got quite a lot of things in there. A mixture of spiders, snakes, frogs, turtles, tortoises, and those tiny little monkeys. So if if you like like animals and you like reptiles and things like that, it's, as I say, from the video, it's very, very small, but it is worth seeing. And of course, if you like looking at animals, you will enjoy it. And it is part of the Oslo Pass, so if you want to use that, then that's something you can do. I'll put all the other information in the video. Okay, as part of the Oslo Pass, you get public transport included in that. I know I haven't shown you any of that, but Oslo is a very walkable city. You can walk to things. I know it is cold and it's not dark out, but it's cold. So if you don't want to do that, you can take trams and buses and other forms of transport. And also the ferries. I think some of the ferries are available for you to use, not necessarily the big ones, but public ferries between our places. But yeah, I'm making my way back to the train station because it's getting closer to needing to be to the airport. So, and with the airports at the moment, you're never quite sure how long things are going to take. So, but yeah, still out, still flying, and as I say, lots of the things I've done have been maximum of 20-25 minutes to get to from things. So, as I say, it is very, very walkable, even if things are covered and sometimes you're not quite sure where roads and things start. It is generally very walkable. It's part of the ethos of the city, of trying to be as healthy and as best environment. So paddling around. I wouldn't do it in this weather, I wouldn't do it in normal weather, but you know, people have been doing it, and there's also these that you can hire out. Okay, after another 12 missed nearly falls, I should have got to the station. As I say, this city is very walkable, it's just very slippy, especially in Converses. So, you can manage it, but yeah, just me being stubborn quite a lot of the time, I think.